Hi everyone, I'm Eva. I'm a PhD at the Vrije Universiteit van Amsterdam. And I'm here today to show you how it's feasible to let people with Parkinson's disease train independently at home. Parkinson's disease is one of the fastest growing neurological diseases worldwide. And research indicated that in 2050, 25.2 million people will be diagnosed with Parkinson's disease, which is an increase of 112% since 2021. And as you can imagine, and as we also heard this morning, that this can result in an increased pressure on our healthcare system, becoming it more and more difficult for every patient to get access to regular physical therapy. Well, at the same time, we all know that it is very important for Parkinson's disease patients to exercise and to train to preserve motor function and delay disease progression. And that's why there is a need for other solutions. And therefore we developed, together with Stroll, an augmented reality platform called Stroll AR, consisted of gamified exercises to train aspects of gait and balance, which can be performed independently at home by Parkinson's disease patients. We performed a trial with our intervention, Stroll AR, and we implemented the trial in the clinical pathway in the Netherlands. So we had 15 clinics with 28 therapists. And in total, that 28 therapists included 100 participants. So what did the trial look like? There were several clinical assessments throughout the study. And after the first clinical assessment, there was a control period in which the participants continued with their regular therapy schedule. After that, there was a second clinical assessment, and after the second clinical assessment, there were 2 weeks of supervised use with Stroll AR in the clinic. So in this period, the therapist instructed the participant in how to use the device, how to set up the device at home, and how to play all the gamified exercises. Also, during the sessions, they evaluated if it would be beneficial for the participant to have cues added to the games, as cues could help participants and support them walking. In this presentation, I don't have enough time to go in detail about the cues, so if you're interested in that part, please visit me later on at my poster. After the 2 weeks supervised use, the participant took the headset home to train by themselves for 6 weeks. And here you see a participant playing a smash game. So he needed to perform alternating punches to smash an object off a pillar. And after that, he needed to turn around, walk towards the other pillar, and smash an other object off the pillar. All these exercises were prescribed by the therapist with our online web portal. And in this online web portal, the therapist was able to see what the participant did, so which game did they play it, and how did they play the game. So what were the scores that they got on the game. And based on the web portal, there was a weekly evaluation moment between the therapist and the participant to evaluate the program and to adjust the program where needed for the upcoming weeks. After the 6 weeks home training, there was a final clinical assessment, which also assessed the evaluation, so the user experience and the technology acceptance. So what did we look at? We looked at 2 aspects. We looked at both the clinical feasibility of the intervention and the potential effectiveness of the intervention. And in terms of feasibility, we looked at if the intervention was adherable, safe, progressive, and usable. And in terms of potential effectiveness, we wanted to know if it could improve indicators of gait and balance. So let's have a look at the feasibility first. In terms of adherence, the program was in general prescribed for 30 active minutes per week for 5 sessions per week over a period of 6 weeks. This was by default, so if there was not enough physical abilities for the participant, the therapist was able to adjust this program. If we then look at the adherence in total, we see that the session adherence, so did the participant play it at home, was quite high over the total of 6 weeks. On average, the session adherence was 96%. which was quite high. In total, we had around 60,000 logged active minutes of home training, and of all those participants and active minutes, we had no serious adverse events, and we only had 2 non-injurious falls in the clinic. Injurious falls, one of them at home and one of them in the clinic. And at the end, the participants generally reported that they felt safe when training at home, and they were not afraid to fall. So therefore, we concluded that the intervention was adherable and safe. What about the progression? I don't have time, unfortunately, to show you all the games, but here I will show you another one. It's the basketball game at the start and in the end of our 6-week intervention. The same participant, you see him performing the basketball game, so he had to throw balls in the basket. But after that, he needs to perform some squats to earn new balls, which you will see him doing later on. So now he needed to perform squats to earn new balls. And what you see is on the right side, so on the end, he's squatting way faster and he's making more squats. And that's also what we saw in the data. So the game level was increased, so he was required to perform more squats to earn balls, but he also squatted faster, so he performed more squats per minute. So both the orange line, the prescribed game level, and the functional performance, which are the blue bars, increased over time. And that is what we saw generally across all games. So there was an increase of the performed game level and an increase of the performance outcome. And therefore, we concluded that the intervention was also progressive. How about the usability? Here I'll show you the results of our user experience questionnaire, which were performed by both participants and the therapist. And this questionnaire is performed against known benchmarks of other interactive products. And when we then look at the scales, which range from bad to excellent, we see that there is one score below average, which is for the therapist for the efficiency score, which contains how do I need to put unnecessary effort to fulfill this task or not. That was ranged a bit below average, but if we look at all the other domains, they were answered quite positively. So I will point out the novelty and the stimulation. So for stimulation, is it exciting? Is it motivating? And the attractiveness, do I like it? Does it look attractive? They were answered all very, very positively by both therapists and participants. So therefore, we concluded that the intervention was also usable for both therapists and our participants. Now we still have left the potential effectiveness of the intervention. So all the participants performed several clinical gait and balance tests, and after the intervention we found significant improvements for the 5 times sit to stand test, the 10-meter walk test at both comfortable and fast walking speed, the mini-best test, but not for the time and go test and the VASI test. So after that, we concluded that there is definitely a potential effective on gait and balance for the intervention, but we will need a fully randomized controlled trial to confirm the effectiveness of the intervention. And then what I want to say is that in this study, we fully focused on the intended use of Stroll AR, which was to improve gait and balance. But what we saw and what was reported by both participants and the therapist, that the biggest advantage of the intervention was to promote physical activity of our participants, to increase the physical activity. So that's what we thought, that we maybe should broaden the intended use rather than only focusing on gait and balance improvement. We should also focus on the intervention as a powerful tool to promote physical activity. So what I want you to remember for today is that Stroll AR is safe, adherable, progressive, usable, and potentially effective to improve gait and balance for people with Parkinson's disease, but it also shows potential to promote physical activity, and therefore we can help people to stay active by exercising independently at home. Thank you.